If you or someone you know is thinking of running from home, has run away, or if you are a runaway ready to go back home, call 1-800-RUNAWAY. That's 1-800-786-2929.
This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, up here in Kansas and down there in Arizona. Joining me tonight, Derek. How you doing, Derek?
Doing pretty good, man. I wanted to let everybody know that we can hear Ricky loud and clear this week.
Yeah.
He's not freezing up. I made a Facebook post last week to my personal friends just stating that the show was really struggling. Ricky's computer was having trouble keeping up with our software. And this guy, Jeff Butler, he's a guy from McPherson.
Mm-hmm.
He plays bass guitar for Bootleg Mercy and Love Like War. And he donated a computer to us. And he didn't charge us. He just gave us a computer. And Ricky is using it tonight. And it looks and sounds great. And then Jeff's also a realtor with Cornerstone. So if anybody that watches the show is looking for real estate in the Kansas area, hit up Jeff Butler, and that's 620-755-9720, or you can email him at jeff@cornerstoneks.com.
Right.
But yeah, a huge thank you to Jeff Butler.
Definitely.
And
go on
Facebook and add Bootleg Mercy and Love Like War, and follow his band and check him out. That's awesome.
Hey, Kelly.
We have Ellen here. Pretty slim crowd tonight. Is there something going on the TV?
I don't, not that I know of. Of course, it's Friday night too, so who knows?
Oh yeah, we don't do this. This is not a normal night for us. So people probably aren't. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. The scary thing is with this new computer, you can see how scary I really look.
Oh man. Well, let's go ahead and cover some cases. We're going to go over the cases we cover all the time first and get those out there. So let's talk about Dietrich Foster.
Okay, and I also have a new monitor. I had to, in conjunction with this new computer, I had to go out and buy a new monitor because my old one wasn't compatible with this computer because it's an HDMI hookup instead of the old VGA. So, crazy stuff. But anyway, Dietrich Foster, missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. Was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. He was last seen around on May 12, 2020. He was last seen around April 12, 2020 in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Foster's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He's now 40. He is 5'9", weighs 190 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if anybody has any information at all, get that called in immediately so we can get some stuff going on and find out what happened to Dietrich and where he's at and get him back to his family.
Yeah, I hate that they have the word suspected murder. You just wonder what the police know that we don't know, and But it's obviously they don't know any good information if they're willing to put that on the flyer,
Yeah.
That's terrible. And I still want to. You said it was his child's mother that you had spoke to in the past.
Yeah.
I still like to talk to her now that things are working here on the show again. Maybe we can get some deeper dives in some of these. But yeah, Dietrich Foster's case is one we've covered for a while. We're going to keep covering it, and we need some movement in that case.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just convinced somebody knows something, not just regarding Dietrich's case, but all these cases.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce.
Hey, Dana Bruce is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th of 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 37. She is 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the remainder of the night. She was last seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at about 11:30 p.m. Police have identified him, and he did travel to Atlanta after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. Told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush, and she does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She is 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that's colored brown at the roots, black at the ends, with red highlights and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. She does have a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 673-526-6178, or their toll-free number is 866-362-6422, and see if we can't help get Dana located and back to her family. I know they are desperately looking for her and wanting to bring her home.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. It's a long time coming. There needs to be some resolution on that. And, she was telling us recently that the guy that left the state was cleared, but it just seems weird that someone would leave the state after the same night somebody goes missing. It seems a little odd to me.
Right.
Rodney's here from Ottawa.
Hey,
Kelly
Rodney
brings up a good point. She says they're having issues with weather and there's lots of damage and injuries. Brandon is not here tonight, but he is texting me. He is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they have no power due to the weather.
Oh, wow. What kind of weather they got going on out there?
I asked him if it was a storm, and he said that right now they've been without power for several hours because of windstorms that are coming through.
Oh, wow.
So North Carolina is nothing but trees. So you add some high winds to that, it's a recipe for disaster. Those things snap in half and fly across the, God knows what, and hits transistors and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to anybody who's experiencing storms tonight. Sounds like it's pretty rough out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we talk about it every week. Kenny Wright-Check, if he's out there somewhere rambling around, he's experiencing all of this. All these people that are missing, if they're not housed, they're experiencing this weather. So it's very scary. But let's talk about Kenny Wright-Check.
Yeah. Kenny's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he was missing. He's now 72. He is 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown instead of his given name of Wright-Check. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since. He does not have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. His main mode of transportation was his bicycle that he rode and pushed around town, picking up scrap metal and selling it for extra pocket money. At the time of his disappearance, Kenny was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or you can call the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be and make sure he's okay. I've said before in past shows that it's hard to keep that hope alive because we've had so many, hot days and cold days throughout the winters over the last couple of years. And it's just really hard to know whether he's okay or not, and would really like to find out.
Yeah, definitely a lot of questions with that. And, we were wondering if his checks were still being cashed, but it did sound like you said that maybe one of his the people that would handle his money had passed.
And that's what I was told. One of the payees did pass away. It was, I guess, a husband and wife, and I'm not sure which one it was that passed, but one did. So, from what I was told. So I don't know.
Kelly's saying there's a lot of damaging winds and tornadoes. She said everything was blowing all over. Shingles ripped off houses, knocking everything over. Lots of cars and houses were destroyed, and hospital and restaurants were damaged. Esther Unruh was here as well. Yeah, that is not good. That sounds like there's a lot of wicked storms going on right now.
Yeah.
Seems like it's further east, but that's, we have Kentucky all the way to Raleigh telling us that they're experiencing some serious issues. So let's talk about Alexander Perez.
All righty. Alexander Perez is missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020. He was 35 when he went missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He'd called a family member on the phone December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. Alexander has not been heard from or seen by any family or friends since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. Alexander has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500, or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600, or KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can help get Alex located and back home to his family, because there's another family that's been just relentlessly searching for him and wanting to get him home, and see if we can't help make that happen.
Yeah. I just feel bad for all the families that are awaiting information from law enforcement, because that can seem like forever.
Yeah.
They can't tell you what they don't know. So every day that goes by, it's just, torture. You're just like, are they going to call it A? Are they going to call it? I feel sorry for anybody that are on these flyers, that families are, in the process of waiting for phone calls from detectives to see if there's any information about their loved one,
Yeah.
And this was, over 2 years ago. So that's got to be. And I'm sad we haven't seen Irene in a while.
Yeah, it's been quite a long while. One of the last things I would heard was that her health wasn't doing the best.
Yeah. I think I'm going to reach out to my sources this week and see if she's all right, because that's been a long time since we've heard from her. But anyway, this is the voicemail that was sent to our source on December 6th So 5 days after Alexander was last seen.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
Wow. Kind of makes you wonder if that has anything to do with his disappearance.
Yeah. Well, it's like he says crazy things happening in Garden City, and that's where I lived before I moved to Phoenix. I lived in Garden City from 2010 to 2018, and it's true. There is, because my version of Garden City was pretty clean cut, nice town, but it's not lost on me that there's a bad side of Garden City too, and it sounds like Alexander might have met some of that bad side.
Yeah.
But look, it's really easy to demonize any town if you just only look at the bad stuff. But that these are horrible things that happen, people missing and stuff. But it's these towns are great towns as well. There's a lot of good. I feel like this show is kind of doom and gloom. And I want to remind everybody that that there is a lot of good out there, but there is some bad stuff that we have to figure out what happened. She says, "Don't forget Megan Fogelson, Stargale Boomer. They deserve answers too."
Yes, they do.
Don says, "It's nice to see you're back." Yeah, Ricky. You can hear him. He's not cutting in and out.
Right.
And then Jazlinda.
Wow.
It's a nice name. I can't pronounce it. But
Yeah. Thanks for joining us tonight.
From Wichita. That's awesome. Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about Ashley.
Okay, this is one that I did today. She's Ashley Siner. I think it's Siner. I hope I say that right. Missing from Topeka, Kansas since March 1st of this year. She's 27. She is 5'4", weighs 185 pounds. She has brown hair with blonde on the ends and brown eyes. She has special needs. She's autistic and has Asperger's and has the brain and mannerisms functions of an 8-year-old. She does not drive or have a bicycle, so she obviously will be on foot. Again, she's 27. She's 5'4", weighs 185 pounds. She has short, curly brown hair with a blonde on the ends and brown eyes. She does wear glasses, and she has a scar on her eyebrow. She may be wearing the Kansas City Chiefs hoodie up there in the top right-hand corner there. Ashley's family does want her to know she's not in any trouble. They just want her home safe. So if anybody has any information regarding Ashley's disappearance or you know where she's at, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Ashley located and back home to her family because they really want her home.
Wow. That's... Yeah. I hate hearing that. She's, special needs and...
Yeah.
Wow. So she was in her Chiefs hoodie.
Yep. She may be wearing the Chiefs hoodie. Okay. She's been missing for a couple of days, and it's getting kind of scary being that she is autistic and does have Asperger's, and so it is scary.
Yeah, I don't like that. We need to find her, and that's not good. Parsons, Tracy Sexton shit from Parsons.
Yeah. This is an interesting one, though, because her mom actually called me. She got my number from a detective from the Topeka Police Department and was referred to me to get a flyer made. So I thought that was really neat of the Topeka Police Department to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you're the guy, though. Everybody knows you're the guy.
That's what they say.
Like it or not, that's what people are going to email you for the rest of your life. Sadly, people meet you and it's like, I'm sure you're friendly with every parent that's reached out to you. But it's almost like you hope to never meet any of these parents, because anytime a parent messages you, they're in trouble. They're having trouble finding a kiddo. So let's talk about Trinity.
Okay, well, we've done a flyer for her in the past. This is a new one, actually him. Trinity Neo Summers, missing from Wichita, Kansas since February 21st of this year. 16 years old, 5'1", 146 to 150 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. Trinity does identify as a male and uses the name Neo. Again, Neo's 16 years old. He is 5'1", weighs between 145 and 150 pounds. Has brown hair that was last known to be dyed green. Neo does sometimes wear wigs. Does have brown eyes, but does also sometimes wear color contacts. If you have any information regarding Neo's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or call KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can help get Trinity located and back to where he needs to be. And the picture in the center is actually the most recent photo with the green hair.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we covered Neo.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
You always hope after they're located that, that's the end of it. But, oftentimes some of them do repeat. So, but we're still here to cover them even if they do repeat. So,
yeah. I mean, it's tough being young.
Yeah, it is.
And then Neo, it's, you said, a lot of times we don't know if there's like a foster situation or you never know what's going on at home. You never know what people, maybe Neo has some, emotion issues that, he needs to, work through. You never know what people are going through. And anybody who's a teenager, even under the best circumstances, has a rough time, so I get it, people.
Right.
Maybe Neo just needed to take a walk, but he needs to go where he's safe and go to school and have an awesome life and take care of himself.
Right.
But get found first.
Yeah, we got to get him found.
Let's talk about Cody.
Okay, Cody Zollinger, missing from Wichita, Kansas, also since February 13th of 2023. She's 15. She's 5'3", 140 pounds. She does have brown hair, but she does wear wigs, and she does have blue eyes. She does have a septum piercing or nose ring and a high cheek dermal piercing on her left side. If you have any information regarding Cody's disappearance, or her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can get Cody located and back to where she needs to be. She looks so different in both pictures. One, no makeup or anything like that. And the other one got the makeup going on. And don't know if that's a wig or not. But, I mean, totally different look, with makeup and everything.
Yeah. I got to tell you, man, like, we've always, had makeup where somebody could make themselves, look like a different person just with makeup, and wigs and stuff. And then we went through the whole filter, thing where, a lot of the pictures we share are pictures with filters on them, which kind of defeats the purpose of a missing person. It's like,
Right.
it's kind of impossible to find somebody. But now the new thing is this artificial intelligence stuff. Like, we're getting too smart for our own good, man. Like, you can make yourself look however you want. And sadly, if you don't have any pictures of what you look like in real life, and I'm not saying you have to post them online, but if you don't have any pictures of what you look like in real life without any effects, and you don't have anybody that cares about you that has those pictures, then if Ricky does have to make a flyer with you, like chances are that people are not going to know who to really look for because of the filters and stuff. So I always like it when you get a picture of somebody that they don't have a filter, you know. But again, it's getting tougher and tougher to get most, I mean, a lot, you know, not just women. There's a lot of guys that use filters. It's a sign of the times, but unfortunately, when it comes to missing persons folders, it's posters. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, it is.
Let's talk about James Winston III. This looks like this is going to be one of our cards this week.
Yeah, we're actually doing 2 card cases this week since we didn't do the show last week because of my computer issues. This is James A. Winston III. This is back on February 16th, 2020. Wichita police were called to a home in the 1700 block of South Glen just before 3 a.m. February 16, 2020. And there they found James A. Winston III unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to a hospital where he died. He was sitting on his bed waiting for a friend to come over when he was shot multiple times. Security video shows the suspects. Because of the light, movement, and how the camera functions, it's possible to tell who they are. If you have any information regarding James's death, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or Crime Stoppers at 316-267-2111 or KBI 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can help get some justice for James and his family. Because I'm sure they're really wanting some answers.
Yeah. You know, I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and it just blows my mind how some people just have zero regard for human life.
Yeah. True. I was watching my favorite sheriff today on my lunch break and on my 15-minute break, Grady Judd down there in Polk County, Florida, and he was talking about a case where a 19-year-old shot a 33-year-old in the back as the 33-year-old was running. They were rival gang members, and the 19-year-old turns around and makes a rap video about it and basically confesses in this video that he shot the guy in the back while he was running. And the bad part about it was the guy that got shot, he was expected to survive his wounds. And while he was in the hospital recovering, there was a medication he was supposed to be taking to help him heal and recover and stuff. Well, he refused to, as he started getting better, he refused to start or keep taking the medication. He refused to reveal who the shooter was. He said he was going to heal on his own. He was going to take care of it on his own and stuff like that. Well, since he wasn't taking the medication, his health declined and he eventually did die. And even though he didn't reveal who the shooter was, they were able to, through investigation, find out who the shooter was, and he's arrested and sitting in jail and probably will be there for the rest of his life. So, but it's just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
This 19-year-old, his first arrest was at 11 and then 13 and then 15 and 15 and 17. Now he's 19. So, I mean, he's got a long history. It's very sad.
Yeah. I love these cards that they're doing, though. That really does help out. And, you know, these crimes happened in Kansas, these criminals, there's a very good chance any of the unsolved crime, you know, homicides and stuff that we talk about, there's always a good chance that somebody who may have gotten away with murder at some point, that they are in jail, you know, for something else.
I can hope.
Yeah, I mean, because that does happen often. You know, like they'll do like a DNA thing, and they'll like okay, we found him murder. Oh well, he's already in jail over here. You know, so typically people who break the law continuously break the law. So the cards are awesome because people know each other, they talk, and you know, I think it's a great situation.
Right, and hopefully, I was going to mention something real quick. Tonight is I think it's tonight. Tonight, or I have to look again, but they're doing that screening of that Dolly Madison murders documentary in Garden City. And
really,
Yeah, and they said if you didn't get a chance to see it in Garden City, I think it's tonight. It's either last night tonight or tonight tomorrow night. If you didn't get to see it down there when they're doing the screening, that it's going to be available on other platforms there pretty soon. And I can't remember the gal's name that got a hold of me about it, but she was telling me it will be available on YouTube and other platforms. So I'm going to be watching for that because I do want to see it.
I did not know that. I wish I would have. If you, whenever we don't show, send me any kind of link you have to that because I want to put that on my Garden City page. I'd love for people to go check that out.
Yep, as soon as I can get a hold of it, I will do that.
She says, "Watch it too. We need more sheriffs like him."
Yeah, I mean, he will put out as much information. He knows what he can put out and what he can't. He'll put out as much as he can put out, and he'll say he'll put hit a little reminder in there and say, "Now remember, this is just what's coming out preliminarily. If any, and this could change as the investigation progresses."
Mm-hmm.
But he'll remind folks of that. And he's just really cool to watch. He really is. I mean, he pulls no punches, and I mean, he's just great. We need more sheriffs and more police chiefs like him. We really do. I want to talk about transparency in a law enforcement agency. They're definitely transparency in his agency. He's been a sheriff there for 50 years.
I checked out some of his videos after you talked about him. He's very entertaining.
Oh yeah. Sometimes he cracks me up because he'll say something that's kind of shocking about a suspect or something. And did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said?
I like him. Let's talk about Jason Washington. Looks like a Missouri case.
Yeah, I actually updated this flyer a little bit. I was able to have the photo of the security shot of what he was wearing when he went missing, and some additional information that I didn't have before. But he's missing from Columbia, Missouri since October 16th of 2022. He's 49. He is 6 foot tall, weighs 165 pounds, has black hair that's shaved, and brown eyes. He was last seen at the Columbia Square Apartments where he lives. He had a minor seizure that morning, which was not unfamiliar to him. He had planned to drop their children off that he was watching at their older siblings' house if he continued to feel unwell. When Jason took them down there to their older siblings' house around 1:30, he had a second seizure. Family member was trying to call his name, and he kept checking, but Jason was not responding to the family member. Jason does not have his seizure medication with him. He is 49. He is 6 foot tall, weighs 165 pounds, has black hair that may be shaved, and brown eyes. He has unknown tattoos on both arms. He was last seen wearing a gray long sleeve shirt, gray pants, and red Nike sneakers, which is pictured up there above right. I was able to finally get that. If you have any information regarding Jason's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call 911 or call the Columbia, Missouri Police Department at 573-874-7652 with the Missouri State Highway Patrol Missing Persons Unit at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number 866-362-6422. And I was also able to add the clothing description because I didn't have that before either. So I was able to add all that and more circumstances around his disappearance regarding the seizures and that kind of thing. So, if anybody has any information regarding Jason, get that called in immediately, see if they can get him found. Because it's been several months now. And I know we've had some cold spells and stuff like that. So it's, see if we can't get him located.
Yeah. How's the Missouri page doing?
Not doing too bad, really. I actually had somebody message me today about an unsolved homicide in Missouri, and I'm going to be doing a flyer for that one and probably have that on the next show. It's actually an older case from, I believe, the 1980s, I think it was. I'll have to double check, but I think it's from the 1980s. It's been a while. So see what we can help get drummed up for that case, hopefully.
I went to Columbia, Missouri for a Weezer concert when I was 18.
I believe it is a woman named Catherine. I think Catherine Baker, I believe is her name.
Catherine Baker.
Yeah, Catherine Baker, 1990. It's from April 19th, 1990. So, yeah. I've got the information in the inbox, in the Missouri inbox, and here's what I was sent. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll get a flyer made and get that posted. And like I said, we'll cover that one on the next show.
Well, let's talk about Rosie. Looks like another Missouri case.
Yeah, Rosalie Schlicker, missing from Kansas City, Missouri since March 14th, 1978. She was 20 when she went missing. She would now be 65. She is 5'6", 120 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. She may spell her last name Schlucker with a U instead of an I. She was last seen at the Truman Medical Center in the 2300 block of Holmes Street in Kansas City. She has never been heard from again. There's not much available as far as details go in her case. Again, when she went missing, she was 20. She would now be 65. She's 5'6", weighs 120 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. She has a scar on her right hand and a tattoo of a Harley Davidson on her right buttock. Her ears are pierced. If you have any information regarding Rosie's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5220 or 816-234-5111 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number 866-362-6422 and see if we can help get Rosie located and back to where she needs to be.
1978.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Yeah. It bothers me that Kansas City is in 2 states.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea that was.
Like my friend, they do spring training for a lot of major league teams out here in Phoenix, and my friend sent me a picture today of somebody from the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, they're from your state," and I was like, "Cool," but I didn't want to tell her like, actually, they're on the Missouri side, but
yeah,
because everybody thinks like the Chiefs and the Royals, they think Kansas, but like I'm pretty sure the stadiums are over on the Missouri side.
Yeah, they are. I've been there. It's been a long time, but I've been there. PJDVA, hello.
It says people just don't vanish. Advocacy giving prayers.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Let's talk about Heather Lang.
Okay, this is another cold case card case from Donovan County, Kansas, on February 28th, 1998. Motorist on US 36 near Highland, Kansas, discovered Heather Lang's body on February 28th, 1998, with visible tire tracks near the body. Autopsy reports indicated Heather died from blunt force trauma to the head and that she'd been sexually assaulted. Heather was also pregnant at the time of her death. Heather had run away from Tacoma, Washington, and made her way down to St. Joseph, Missouri after leaving her home in December 1997. Authorities believe she falsified her age to make acquaintances with truck drivers for rides. She told several people that she was older than her real age, estimating a ruse of being 18 or 19 years old. Heather got in contact with a family in St. Joseph near the St. Joseph Avenue area and stayed with them for 9 or 10 days. Heather reportedly grew close to the St. Joseph family over the next week and a half, even serving as a nanny for their kids. During that time, she had communication on their computer with someone out east, possibly in Atlanta. The family indicated she had left Widemere, I hope I said that right, truck stop on the 15th of February. She placed a collect call to her mother on the 16th of February from a hotel in Hastings, Nebraska, but that was the last contact anyone ever had with Heather. If you have any information regarding Heather's death, please call the Donovan County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 785. Boy, that is hard to read. Man, I can't hardly read that. It looks like 785-985-3711 or KBI 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can help get some justice for Heather and her family.
Yeah, I see 785-985-3711.
Thank you. It just, I don't know why the typeset looks so thick that it's hard to read on my end.
Sometimes the flyers are harder to read than others. Yeah, I've noticed that.
I'm on full screen and everything, so
yeah. So I've noticed that sometimes because when I make these, I have to pull the phone numbers off and put them over there to the right, and sometimes they're hard to read. I have to blow them up pretty big. Let's check out our comments. Esther Unruh is here. And then Lamaze, Faith, Raylene, sending prayers to all the families who don't have answers.
Thank you.
100%.
Much needed and greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Let's talk about Samuel Bustos.
Okay. He's missing from Topeka, Kansas since February 19th of this year. He's 17. He is 5'7" to 5'8", weighs between 185 and 190 pounds, has red hair and hazel eyes. It's believed he may still be in the Topeka area or he may be in the Kansas City area. And he's 17. He's 5'7" to 5'8", weighs between 185 and 190 pounds. He has red hair and hazel eyes. And if you have any information regarding Samuel's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Shawnee County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-251-2200 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Samuel located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah. Have we covered him in the past?
I think we did. Yeah, actually we did, because when I made this flyer, I had an older flyer on file. So yeah, we have.
Okay.
These are just more updated pictures, more up-to-date pictures than the last one. I think it's been probably a year maybe since the last one.
Yeah. Micah Rashawn is here. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Micah.
Let's talk about Michael Golub.
Alrighty. He's missing from Stanton County, Kansas since May 20th of 2005. He's 27 when he went missing. He's now 45. He is 6'2" and weighs between 165 and 180 pounds. He has brown hair and blue eyes. Michael was last seen in the Stanton County, Kansas area at 6 p.m. on May 20th, 2005. Just finished work at his job at Kramer Harvesting, was supposed to pick up his 5-year-old son at his ex-girlfriend's home, but never arrived there. He has never been heard from again. He left behind a fiancée with whom he had an infant child. It's uncharacteristic for him to leave without warning. Michael's golden brown Chevy S10 pickup truck with toolboxes and Treco County, Kansas license plates was found abandoned on a county road in northwest Grant County 2 days after his disappearance. Following the truck's location, authorities began investigating Michael's disappearance as a potential homicide. Shannon Floyd, Michael's ex-girlfriend, and her husband, Chad Floyd, were arrested and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in Michael's case in June of 2006. Authorities believe he went to their home and was shot to death on the night of his disappearance. There was a great deal of animosity between Shannon and Michael, and they frequently disagreed over child support and visitation issues relating to their son. Michael's blood was found on the Floyd's front porch. The Floyd's defense attorney said there was insufficient proof Michael was dead and suggested he had committed suicide or left on his own accord. At the couple's July 2007 trial, the jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict, and a mistrial was declared. The second trial also ended with the jury unable to reach a verdict. Michael's body has never been found, but foul play is suspected in this case due to the circumstances involved. If you have any information regarding Michael's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 or 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Michael located and back to his family.
Yeah, I'm friends with Michael's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And last I spoke to her, it's been about 6 months, but we initially started talking about a year and a half ago. And the both of the trials obviously happened, and there's a that whenever they were featured on, I think it was Dateline or something, but they mentioned that it's not uncommon to hear people talk about in Stanton County how the guy who was allegedly responsible, the guy who was put on trial for maybe doing something to Michael, came from a very privileged family in the area, and there's a lot of talk. But regardless, last I spoke to Michael's sister, they were in the process of raising, I think they needed like $600, and they were going to purchase the transcript from the second trial and just go over it with a fine-tooth comb and just see if they can find something that was missed. But I don't think it was the money that they were worried about getting. I think she was more worried about she's going to do it when she's ready, and I just don't think she's been ready to relive it yet. But that was what me and her talked about on the phone. She said that she was going to buy the transcripts of the trial and just go through it and see if there's anything that sticks out at her, which I think is a travesty if you have 2 potential murder trials for your brother and you have to pay for copies of the transcript. But I get it, materials cost money. So
I was trying to remember, was it his case that the son now has the truck or something like that?
Yeah, so everybody called him California Mike, and it says Stanton County. I know it is Johnson, the town Johnson, but like their school is called Stanton County there. But yeah, in Johnson, everybody called him California Mike, and he drove an old milk truck, and I think the tag was Milkman. And yeah, all these years later, one of his sons, I don't know his name, but he drives the milk truck.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then the one thing that I thought was incredibly sad is his child he had with the Shannon, I think is her name, the girl that was on trial.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, and I don't know how it's possible but from what I understand, that kid doesn't know much about his dad, and I think he's under the impression that he died in a car wreck.
Oh wow. So
I mean, that's one thing me and Michael's sister talked about, and I was like how sad is it gonna be for that kid who's however old now, whenever they inevitably somebody's gonna send them this flyer someday, and it's just a whole mess, like I don't know. But yeah, my heart goes out to his family. He's got a couple of sisters, actually, really nice people. I video chatted with them, really nice people. But yeah, there's just, in my opinion, how they had that trial in Stanton County, knowing how well known the Chad guy's family was, it's beyond me. But yeah, that's the sad case of that. End of the day, Michael Eugene Golub has not been seen since 2005, and there has never been any remains found, so nobody knows.
Wow.
Let's talk about Cameron Bloodworth. Looks like this is from Tatum's page, I'm thinking.
Yeah. He hasn't been located yet, and she was cool with me using it. So
nice.
He's missing from Wichita, Kansas since February 15th of this year. He's 29. He's 5'8", weighs 160 pounds, has brown hair and green eyes. He has multiple tattoos. He has tattoos on the right side of his ribs. His back that says Camry. Left arm that says One Love and Family. Right arm is a tribal and 2 sleeves. And kind of cut the edges off the flyer there. And on both sides of his chest. Cameron was last seen in the Lakeside Landing trailer park in Wichita. And he has no phone or social media. If you have any information regarding Cameron's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Cameron located and back to his family.
Is her flyer the exact same size as yours?
Hers might be a little bigger.
Okay, because I usually it's all set and forget. I just drop it in there and save it.
Yeah.
So it's probably set to your size.
Yeah, I think hers is a little bigger than mine.
Okay. I was wondering. I was like, why is it chopped? I didn't do anything.
No.
Micah says, I've tried to contact my ex-in-laws, but no info from them. Have Joseph Kiesling been found?
Joseph Kiesling been... I'd have to look on that one. I don't remember if he has or not.
We'll write that down, Micah. If you want to come back, next week is Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So, Micah, we'll be live Thursday night of next week at 9 p.m. and we'll cover that. We'll let you know if he's been located or if he is still missing.
Pop that name up there for me again so I can
That's
write it
going to
down.
be Joseph Kiesling.
Okay. If I was on my other computer, I could look, but I'm on the new computer and I have to switch back to the old one when I get done. So I can look and see.
Yeah. She said it's her daughter's brother.
Oh, okay.
We will, and feel free to, if you're watching on the Kansas Missing and Unsolved page, feel free to message the page, and Ricky will be on his work computer after the show, and he can probably send you a message if you reach out. Let's talk about Suzanne Johnson.
Okay, this is another unsolved homicide from here in Kansas. Suzanne Johnson, 14, was reported missing from home in Elkhart, Kansas on March 4th, 1971. Suzanne's partially disrobed body was found 15 days later on March 19th, 1971. Northwest of Elkhart by a volunteer searcher about 30 minutes after a large-scale search was launched to look for clues in her disappearance. Her murder does remain unsolved. If you have any information regarding Suzanne's death, please call the KBI 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't get some justice for Suzanne and her family.
And this happened in my hometown. This is the case that got me interested in true crime. It's the reason I'm here tonight. I got into trying to find as much as possible about this case. Rather than just dumping everything I know right here, anybody who's interested in learning about this case, you can look for the Elkhart tapes. That's ELKHART. That's a podcast I do about my hometown. And there's an episode called Barbara Johnson Unedited Call. And it was a call I recorded in 2018 with Suzanne Johnson's mom. And she recorded the call. She said I could air it. And then about 3 hours later, she called me and she was worried about sharing that audio. She was worried about obviously offending anybody. And so she asked me not to share it until she was gone. And she passed about 6 months ago. And I released that audio. It's got a tremendous amount of downloads from that region. But basically, she lays all of it out there. And it had been 49 years since her daughter's murder. But if anybody wants to know everything that I know about this case, check out that audio. Barbara Johnson tells the whole story.
Wow.
So I want Ricky, whenever we're done here and he's on his work computer, I definitely want him to send me anything he has on this this event he's talking about in Garden City. But yeah, let's talk Dolly Madison.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it again since they're doing that screening down there, and would really like to. I want to see that. And I went Garden City. It's Great Bend, not Garden City. Sorry about that. But on September 4th, 2002, at approximately 7:55 p.m., the Great Bend, Kansas Police Department responded to a call at Dolly Madison Bakery at 1004 Harrison in Great Bend. Upon arrival, officers found two deceased females, victim of an apparent double homicide. One was Mandy Alexander, and the other was Mary Drake. Police have never said how the women died. A delivery truck driver who found the bodies said they were located in a back office. A witness described seeing a white male approximately 6'1" to 6'2", weighing 175 pounds, having collar length, light brown to blonde hair, and a slight beard, walking away from the front door of the bakery. The murder weapon was never found, and no suspects have been arrested. Officials also aren't sure of a motive for the murders, although some of the money from the store was missing that night. On September 6, 2022, the KBI and Great Bend, Kansas Police Department, as a result of this new testing, male DNA was discovered on a sample collected from the body of one of the victims. KBI agents and detectives from the Great Bend Police Department have collected numerous DNA samples for comparison to the DNA discovered and will continue with these efforts. If you have any information regarding the murders of Mandy Alexander and Mary Drake, please call the Great Bend, Kansas Police Department at 620-793-4120, or the Barton County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 620-793-1876, or KBI at 1-800-572-7463. There is a $17,000 reward available for information leading to an arrest and conviction in Mandy Alexander and Mary Drake's deaths. So please, if you have any information at all regarding this case, get it called in.
That's just like,
yeah,
so crazy of a town to happen in.
Yeah, last time we covered their case, well, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. A lady was commenting, and I talked to her after the show that night, and she was telling me she worked at the McDonald's right across the street from that bakery, and she said it was just crazy, all the first responders that were there and everything, and they were told they couldn't leave the restaurant while they were over there and stuff like that. She said they were there for quite a long while when they were doing their investigation over there.
Jeez.
I couldn't imagine.
Have you what's the closest you've been to something like that?
Closest I've been to something like that.
Just like a murder.
Oh, probably as far as where the scene was, I've driven by Nellie Hubbard's house where she was murdered over on Elm Street. I've driven by the storage facility where Catherine Adams disappeared from. I've driven by the house where Beverly Logan was murdered numerous times because when I go over and pay one of my bills, it's on the way back. So I drive by there quite frequently, and it's hard to believe people actually live there now. But I don't know if I could live. Same with Nellie Hubbard's old house. There's people living there too.
What? I understand the missing persons thing in your life.
Yeah.
That's a calling. But what is it about true crime as something like, I hate to use the word entertainment because it's really not entertainment, but like as far as like watching YouTube videos and stuff like that about true crime, what is it about that aspect of humanity that captivates you?
I think what first got me started on it was when I worked at Bosman's Truck Plaza back in the from 90 to 95. One of the drive hands that was doing cleaning the drive lanes that day, he brought in like one of those True Detective magazines that one of the drivers left out there on the lane, and I said, hey, let me see that. So I got to kind of flipping through it a little bit, and then when I went on break, I took it with me and I sat there and was reading through it, and that's what got me initially hooked. And it's not the crime that has me hooked. It's just the investigative process behind the crime that has me hooked. What all they do, the processes they go through and stuff. It just intrigues me. My dad was a cop before I was born.
Yeah.
So some of it may be genetic. I don't know. But he was a cop here in Salina before I was born back in 1966. So,
but I mean, we're not alone. That's one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest like podcast documentaries.
I don't know if I've ever shown it, but this is a photo of when my dad came up on the police force, and he is this one right here on the end. That's my dad right there. So yeah, I guess it's kind of genetic. I have often said if I would have been born taller and bigger, I probably would have been a cop myself. But I mean, I'm only 5'6", and I didn't think people would take me seriously as a cop. So, right. And I also didn't think at the same time, I didn't think that if it came down to having to shoot somebody or being shot, I don't know if I could actually maybe pull the trigger or not. I don't know. That was one of my dad's concerns too. That's why one of the reasons he got away from being a police officer, because he didn't know if it came down to it, if he could actually pull the trigger.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know, man. That's got to be rough. Same, man. Like I have always wanted to be. I never wanted to be a cop. I never wanted to be like a patrol officer, but a detective would have been fun.
Yeah,
but you kind of got to be a cop first.
You got to do your time on the streets first.
Yeah, you got to learn how the job works. But honestly, what kept me away, the closest I got to any kind of public service, is I used to be a nursing assistant, and it made me think of either going into nursing or being an EMT. I think EMT is a really, really cool job. But I don't like trauma. On Tuesday. I was at work and I knocked on I do I spray bug spray. I knocked on this door and this lady came to the door and she was probably like 80 and she was very nice and she was like, "Hello," and her dog just darted out, gone.
Oh wow.
And so she just started following the dog. So I'm sitting there like, okay, this is gonna be this dog. We can't catch it. It's just taking off. Every time you get close to it, it just shoots off. So I'm like, okay, we're not gonna catch this dog. And so we walk like 2 blocks from her house, and then the dog stops, and this little old lady she decides to start running. And immediately I'm like, hey, hey, hey. And she trips, and buddy, she bounced off that pavement, like hit the ground so hard. And I get over to her and she's trying to get up, and as she lifts her face up, there's just a pool of blood under her face.
Oh no.
And I helped her. We made sure she got help. I got her home. There was blood all over me. That didn't bother me, which we're post, pandemic. 2 years ago, if somebody's blood would have gone on me, I would have freaked out. But now I'm like, okay, whatever. We have to help this person. But yeah, the reason I chose not to do like EMT work or nursing is because I like listening to true crime stuff. It doesn't bother me to hear when they like discuss like how crimes are committed. But I don't like personally seeing people in pain. That just bums me out, man. Bums me out. So I had to get out of it. And I do respect anybody that is not afraid to be the person that runs into a terrible situation and start helping people. Anybody that has the guts to do that, my hat goes off to them,
Definitely. I don't know that I could do that job either.
I mean,
I don't know that I could. I mean, that takes some of the stuff they see and have to deal with. Yeah, that takes some doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm glad that I'm happy being a bug guy. You just stay stocking shelves over there at Menards, and we'll just stay in our jobs. Let's not do anything crazy. We'll just podcast. But yeah, I'm glad that there's people out there that do those jobs, and it's really another big one is firefighters, man. Like, holy jeez.
Yeah.
A lot of respect. Well, I gotta tell you what, man, it's nice to actually talk to you. Haven't talked to you in 2 months.
Right. And not be all cracking up and freezing up and audio going nuts.
Dude, you know what? Honestly, like, you really should delete the last like 2 months worth of shows. They're awful. You can't hear a word you're saying.
That's terrible.
Real quick, we do want to thank Jeff Butler again. It's I put out a post saying we need a computer for this podcast, and he messaged me within like an hour of it being up, and he lives in McPherson. Ricky lives in Salina. We were able to. Did you guys met in like a small town in the middle or something?
Yeah, in Lindsborg, in front of a grocery store.
There you go. So you've met Jeff Butler. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I've never met him, but I'm friends with a lot of musicians in the Kansas area. But yeah, big shout out to Jeff Butler for hooking us up.
Definitely, actually greatly appreciated, Jeff. Thank you.
Like
this thing's working marvelous.
Yeah, you look great, sound great. Like his band on Facebook, Bootleg Mercy and Love Like War, and then also Cornerstone Realty, Jeff Butler. Give him a call, 620-755-9720. And I got to tell you what, man, I was talking to a couple of buddies of mine who live in Los Angeles, and I had them looking at houses in Kansas last night when they were bored, and they're like, "Man, it's way cheaper." I was like, "Yeah." So, might be having some people hitting up Jeff pretty soon because they saw how the houses, how much house you can get in Kansas versus how much house you can get in LA. I showed them a house in my hometown that was under $200,000, and in LA it easily would have been $950,000. Same house.
Yeah, Jeff seemed like a pretty cool guy. I liked him. He was real nice, and I'm really grateful that he donated this computer. It's just amazing for how small it is. I mean, that's still. I mean, Let me see if I'll pull up the picture on my phone that I sent Derek because I was just marveling.
Did you
at
send
how
it to me
small.
on Facebook or on text?
It was a text.
Okay, I'll pull it up. I'll just send it
Okay.
to myself.
You guys got to see how small. I was like, that's a computer, really? Oh man. Because I'm thinking, you think either the desktop, the flat ones, or the tall towers and stuff. Whoa! I just knocked my camera goofy.
Did you fix it? There you go.
I bumped my microphone, I bumped my monitor, and I bumped my camera, and down it went. Darn thing, anyway.
Hey,
Sorry
man,
about that.
I can hear you and see you. I don't care about the.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that great to look at anyway, but
All right, so I'm pulling up the picture. Give me just a second. Gotta go to my downloads. Bam. This is what Jeff Butler gave us.
I'm holding it in my hand. It's just sitting on my hand. That's how small that thing is.
But you look and sound great, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still sitting in Lindsberg when I took that picture. I think there's a little bar across the street. It looks like to see the Coors over there.
I got to worry about you going in there.
Yeah, I don't like bars. I don't go in bars. They make me uncomfortable.
The only time I'll go into what you would consider a bar is like Chili's or.
I'm always worried a fight's going to break out, and I don't want to be caught in the middle of one.
Yeah, I don't like bars either. But I'll go to like I said, restaurants that have bars in them. But I'm there 100% for the food.
Yeah, I've done that. Like Applebee's and stuff like that.
Hey man, Applebee's could get rowdy.
We had one was JC's Bar and Grill. They had pretty good food too. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. It's renamed Speakeasy now.
Speakeasy.
Yeah, it's more of a sports bar thing. They serve food too.
Real quick, we are going to get out of here, everybody, but a couple of things. KMUpod.com or KMUpod.com. I talked to her name's Shelby Gonzalez. She does our website, and Big Fish Bail Bonds pays the fee for the website. So thank you to both of them. But I talked to Shelby, and the website, without us promoting it at all, is getting clicked about 500 times a day.
Wow.
So if you haven't, yeah, I know. I think it's just organic. People are looking for missing persons in Kansas at the same time, and our website comes up. So thanks to everybody who's visited KMUpod.com. If you haven't visited it, check it out. There's a lot of information on not just what you see here, but Ricky's whole production and his whole story. You can see there's some stuff about Double T on the website and his contributions. There's a picture of Brandon, which is always fun to look at. And we call Brandon Fat Jesus because he's got the long hair and the long beard, and he's big. But yeah, the website's great. Check it out. And also on the website, there is a huge list of resources for anybody who maybe, missing on their own accord, or anybody who potentially is being trafficked in any kind of situation. There's a ton of resources on our website. And also, if you're watching this show or listening to this podcast and you did not hear the case of the person missing from Kansas, there's a place for you to report a case on the website. And you can also just email Ricky directly. Ricky, what's your email address?
It's Kansas Missing and Unsolved. It's all spelled out, one long word, at yahoo.com.
Okay. Send him a message. And then also on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah.
But Ricky is going to do what he does to get us out of here. And awesome show. And I got to tell you, once again, thank you to Jeff Butler. And I'm glad I can see you, and I'm glad I can hear you.
Yeah, me too. It's amazing the difference. I mean, even my background looks better than it usually does.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's kind of got lines and stuff through it and stuff like that. And kind of like yours. No,
no, it's because I have a bad lighting situation going on right now. I had some lights, and they're not any good anymore. I gotta get what you have.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that being said, thank you guys for being with us tonight. I greatly appreciate everybody that's been watching, and please be sure you share out the show and share out the page and the website and all that good stuff. And remember, if you guys do want to try to help us out, there's the patreon.com/KMUpod. Feel free to do that if you want to. You can do it one time, you can do it monthly, whichever you decide to want to do. But with that, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together to go over these missing persons and unsolved homicide cases. And as always, we pray that they reach the right ears, the right hearts, they'll do the right thing and make those phone calls or send those emails through Crime Stoppers or whatever they need to do to get that information in. But we hope that they do it and pray that they do it. And until we see each other this coming Thursday, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Amen. Talk to you next week.
Amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to disgrace in its arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, the crown fits.